this is a Fallout Wasteland Warfare scratch build. Part 2, in fact. We are scratch building this 1950s Fallout post-apocalyptic diner. Yes, we are. It's sorry, it's been a couple of weeks. I've been a bit busy. Before we start, this episode of Magrathea Builder Worlds is being brought to you by Artiscapade Pro Series Fine Detail Brush Sets. A 15-piece brush set for all your figure painting needs, and I'm really quite pleased with them. There is a link down below for you to get a discount on this set of brushes, and who knows, I might even use the other set of Artiscapade brushes in the painting of this model, and then I'll be able to big them up too. Now, enough of that nonsense. Where were we? Yes, this model. If you haven't watched the first part of this model build, don't sit here and watch this one. Go back and watch the first one first, and this will make an awful lot more sense. If you've watched the first one already, you'll know that I'm making this for one of my patrons. A nice chap called Andy, who won my initial Patreon competition to get a piece of Magrathea Builder World scenery made for them. If you are interested in getting your own bespoke piece of Magrathea Builder World scenery made for you, you need to join my Patreon at patreon.com/Magrathea Builder Worlds. Go check it out. It's pretty cool. The challenge with this was to make something curvy and get out of kind of my comfort zone. Go and do something that isn't Burrows and Badgers or Necromunda or Lord of the Rings. So here I am in a post-apocalyptic, post-1950s kind of world. And I've been having lots of fun, although it has been quite a challenge. Quick recap then. The model is based on a flower pot that is being covered in balsa wood. Mostly, I've done the inside of the diner. It's got a pattern floor made with vinyl. It's got a little kitchen area, and there's enough seating area outside. It's nice and round because that's particularly what Andy wanted, something curvy. I've got it on a board section which is just under 12 inches by 12 inches. There's some tarmac laid down there now, and now I've got to get on with some of the other challenges. The next big challenge actually is going to be making the roof. Because again, it needs to be kind of round and go with the whole thing, and I like the idea, I think, of having the roof overhanging a little bit too. I had got as far as making a sign to go on the roof, and a number of viewers have made suggestions as to what this diner ought to be called. Now, I'm hoping, touch balsa wood, that this is going to be the second and final part of this series. But just in case it isn't, in case there's a third, make sure you click subscribe down below, and when you get to the end of this, make sure you leave a comment and let me know what you think, and see if I've actually kind of like hit the 1950s and post-apocalyptic aesthetic as you think it ought to work, because I'm no expert in this. I've seen the games, I've gone and done some research and that kind of thing, so I'm hoping I'm along the right lines. Certainly the resounding feedback from my last video was, yep, we're definitely along the right lines, and it's starting to look pretty good, so I'm very happy with that. It was a bit kind of sigh of relief because I wasn't entirely sure how it was going. Now, apologies if the lighting looks a bit weird in the workshop today. That's because I'm having a load of work done at home, out in the backyard, and conversions and all sorts of things. And my workshop has got no power, so I'm using filming lights today, and I know nothing, sod all about lighting. So they're kind of like in and they're lighting and that kind of thing. So we can see how we go. So if the lighting is a bit odd, I apologise in advance. Anyway, let's crack on with this build. I filmed this intro actually after I've done some work on the roof, so the lighting is going to change instantly as soon as we start going on looking at the roof. But then there'll be other bits that will be under these lights. Hey, you know, I make this thing in chunks, and it's been really busy recently. Work and everything, editing actual proper stuff for work, going into schools, working with actual people. Got Halloween coming up, big Halloween event, so it's all proper mental. I'm trying to squeeze all of this in. So to my regular viewers, if you've missed me, I've missed you too, guys. But I hope this is enough to keep you going. When I've done this build, I've got some Lord of the Rings to build. I've got some more Burrows and Badgers to build. I've got to get back into the sump and build some more stuff for Necromunda. And I also even want to do an Age of Sigmar build. There's not enough time and not enough me to do all the things that I want to do. So keep watching and let's get on with this build right now. Let's go and have a look at the building of the roof. Timey-wimey wibbly wobbly thing. Here's the roof. It needs a roof. It needs a roof for a number of reasons. First of all, it needs a roof. Secondly, it needs a roof so it can have my signage on the front saying what the diner is. Yay! The roof's going to have to be round. Not quite sure I'm going to achieve the roof. I think what I'm going to do... Now, the cool thing is this is an American Midwest kind of like building. I reckon I could probably go for this in a Wild West style with the roof. So the top of the roof should be pretty easy because it's going to be tar and paper finish, just like Wild West buildings are. So that's kind of cool, a lot less aggro. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the roof out of foam core. I'm going to turn this model upside down on a piece of foam core, cut around a circle the same size as this. It's going to be a bit bigger. And then make another bit drops down so it kind of sits on like a hat. I really am making this bit out as I go along now, so I have no idea if this bit is going to work or whether it's going to look any cop or not. I hope it is. Fingers crossed, because you know, I quite like it. Quite like it. But that's what we're going to do. Starting with foam core, and turn the model upside down, draw on it. And then draw a bit around the outside. Yeah, I don't know, might work. Okay, so we're making the roof now. What I've done so far is I've cut a roof. This is bigger than the actual model. I've cut a donut, 5mm foam board donut that stuck to it, which is the bit that was originally going to sit on the model. It's quite cool. It's offset. I've offset it on the circle, so this bit here actually provides a kind of bit of a cover over the doorway. But I've decided that I don't want a flat roof because it's going to look a bit odd. So what I'm going to do, in a very kind of 50s style, I think. I mean, whoop. I say it's a very kind of 50s style. I have no idea. I wasn't alive. I know pictures and stuff. And yeah, my references for this kind of thing are like Grease and Back to the Future and that kind of malarkey. And kind of like that kind of like American Graffiti. But anyway, on Happy Days too. Yeah, there you go. But so I'm going to go for a slopey roof because that makes sense. I mean, I'm not assuming this is in a part of the country that gets an awful lot of precipitation, but when it does get an awful lot of precipitation, it needs to run away. So I'm going to angle the roof. So I think I'm going to angle the roof. I've cut another one of these donuts, which is going to sit here on the top of the building. Then I'm going to make a cardboard sleeve that goes up from that, joins that to that at a jaunty angle. So not only is the roof on a slope, it gives a bit more height to the model and that kind of thing, but it'll be quite cool. I have zero idea how I'm going to achieve this now. Apart from anything else, I'm going to have to start getting all kind of like pie and things and working out circumferences of stuff of that. We'll go find some cardboard. Anyway, yeah, we'll see how it works out in a minute. Right, so okay, got my roof with my offset donut stuck to it. I've got my next donut. I've got a 2-inch strip of cardboard that is some inches long, which will go all the way around the donut. And I have measured, I've kind of drawn this line in. I don't know how well you can see that. There's a line going in here to the top and then down the other side. So hopefully I'm going to curve that round, and this will be the front. I'm going to cut that off, and that will sit at a slant. I have absolutely no idea if this is going to work. I kind of hope it's going to, but we're going to give it a go. I'm going to go over onto a smoother, flatter workbench on the other side of the workshop and cut these two lines, and then we're going to see what happens. Jolly good luck. Okay, moment of truth then. Cut slopey bits. The fit on here. Where's the middle? Something like that. around there. If I squish it together real close, it's going to fit kind of like that. I have to get a bit of masking tape. I think I'll tape that over there. It might have worked. I don't know. Masking tape. I had some around. Let's try it with glue. Do you know what? This might actually work. Here we go. Look, higher at the front than it is at the back. I'm now using that elastic band again to hold it in place. Tape to the back, and then hopefully what we're going to do is we're going to stick this donut in. I don't know whether that's going to work very well. It's got to work. I haven't got another plan. God damn it. Like that. I'm hoping that is then going to sit The problem is the outside of the donut is not exactly the same shape as inside it, but steady on. There's the front. That's kind of what we're going for, but hasn't just dropped in there quite as much as I was hoping it to. Bugger. I'm going to have to do a bit of trimming. Oh well. But not far off. It just needs a bit of trimming to make it fit. I want it to sit tight, but then I want that to do that. We decided that this is going to be a pancake house. I reckon it might look quite cool. I hope it looks quite cool. Andy, I hope you're appreciating this, because this is giving me a right headache. Right. Okay, so I'm pretty pleased with this roof, actually. It looks a bit weird. I think it looks a bit weird because I'm just not used to buildings and how they look like this. I mean, it's a massive flat space. It's on a bit of a kind of like slight angle, but from a figure point of view, there's loads of room to get on top, although I haven't actually modelled a way yet to get on top of it. But it kind of works. It's got that kind of like weird round kind of like aesthetic. The next thing I need to do is put a roof on it. And I think to roof it, I'm going to use tar paper, like Wild West buildings. So that's going to be paper and balsa strip holding it all down, and then I can put a card trim around the outside holding it all in place, which would be pretty cool, pretty easy to work with, neat, because I'm going to fold the paper down the sides first of all, and then I'll pin the trim to it, I think. I think that's the way I'm going to do it. The other thing, of course, there is the fact that it wouldn't be too difficult, actually, to punch holes through the roof in some places, so there's kind of like some kind of damage. This is the bottom, this is how the underneath works. This bit here now kind of stops the whole thing dropping down. I haven't modelled too far. Well, in some ways I don't think it would have mattered if it had dropped down a little bit. It's quite tall. Two minds about that. It's kind of working quite well, but could possibly have sunk back down. But we'll see. Might be too tall. Yeah, I don't know. It looks pretty good. I'm quite pleased with that. So I'm gonna, next job then is to do the tar paper across the roof, and put the trim around it, and then I need to, what do we need to do next? Put a platform on around the outside and texture, I think, the base. Those are the jobs that we got to do. Then we got to think about detailing inside, and to do that we would definitely have to go digging through the cack. Yes, we will. We're going to dig through the cack for 1950s cack. I don't know how much of that I've got, but hey, we'll see. I don't think I need loads because I need some kind of scatter terrain, but I don't want to over detail this because, again, you want to make it accessible for figures. So let's go for it. Next job then, finish the roof. All right, so going for... Take that elastic band off now, can't I? Going for tile paper on the roof then. The first thing we need to do is put some paper on the roof, and I'm going to use tissue paper. If you've seen me doing my Necromunda builds, my sump stuff, you'll know I like tissue paper. I'm going to use tissue paper for this as well because large sheets, and it will take... I'm going to put glue across the surface, and that will soak into the tissue paper, and that will give it an interesting texture to paint. So I need a big fat brush like this. And some Mod Podge. Now, completely out of matte Mod Podge. Note to self, go order some. So I'm using the gloss stuff here. Doesn't really make any difference for this job because it's like got to be under the scenery anyway. But effectively, got to cover the whole of the roof with a coating of Mod Podge, which I'm then going to lay the tissue paper on, and what I think I'm going to do is probably, I don't know why, but I'm fancying the idea of using 2 layers of tissue paper. So that's glue over the whole top of the model. So now we take a piece of tissue paper, lay it on. Right, so this is the second layer of tissue paper going on now. Look, there's this 1, 2, and so I'm gluing over all of this, and then I'm going to have to let it dry. But you can, I don't know if you can see, can we see that? Yeah. Like I said, the lighting is crap in here today. But we're going to get an interesting texture on the roof, which will make this great big wide area an awful lot easier to paint. Otherwise it will just be really, really flat. I'll have wooden battens on it as well. And the other thing I need to do now is put glue around the rims here and then fold the paper over, and then that way there I can then go around and trim it when it's all dry and put a cardboard trim around the outside, which is pretty easy. So this bit going quite nicely to plan. Glue around the trim, trim, and then all the paper will just fold over that. Happy days. Right, so that's tissue paper on. Now in some cases you have to be careful with it because of course this stuff will tear, but that's fine. And now I need to just leave that to one side to dry. So while that's drying, I'm going to start to texture the base of the model. I think we're going to go with slate out of the garden first, and then sand, and then that I can start to build the steps up to the front of the diner. Got to find somewhere in this very crowded workshop to put this to dry. Alright, so the first stage of basing then is I've gone into my garden. Fortunately, we have a number of different bits of garden with different bits of handy sized stones. So I've got slate and I've got little bits of, I think that's granite, I don't know. And now I'm taking this stuff, which is aquarium stones, which I'm dropping into this glue as well. I've used Yoo-hoo all-purpose adhesive. I'm dropping this white aquarium gravel into all of that. Give me different grades stone, and when that's all gone off and dried completely, I'm going to leave that for an hour or two. I'm going to cover the whole base with coral sand. That way it will cover up the whole thing quite well. I've got to take off the edges of this tarmac. That's out the front, if you remember. In the last episode I made the tarmac. The tarmac is just made from glass paper. Sandpaper, perhaps. So, little white stones going in there. I'll shake off the excess of those because there'll be quite a lot that aren't stuck on. But that's fine. In fact, what I'll probably do is drop the odd glue spot for the odd bit without any large rocks. But that looks alright like that. So I'll have sand going under there. Let's get some more under there. Just different levels, stonage. Just going to make the whole model that bit more interesting to paint. Before I go about sticking this bit onto this bit, which is going to be, I've got to do pretty soon actually, because apart from anything else, I need to fix a kind of walk space, a walkway type thing in place. So, the next mission then is actually to leave this glue to dry and set for a little while. It's going to take a bit. I need to decide whether I want this to sit exactly on. I think in some ways it would be better if it sits exactly on the round, as best we can. So, whilst this is going off, I'm going to wield a lot of this stuff and glue this down to that. I think that's my next mission. Let's give that a go. Okay, so first of all, this is a quick stop what I'm doing, just to say I got back from Selwick this afternoon, and had a nice time. Bought some stuff to appear on different models, which is pretty cool. But I would just like to say hello and a big thank you to everybody who stopped me and chatted with me today about this channel. It was really cool. Gary Guy, hope you like the t-shirt. Great chatting with you, Gordon, as well. Thanks to everybody at the Sleeping Dragon Hobby Shop. It was nice catching up with you. And at Sammy Scenics. Oh, we had a great conversation about everything. The crew at Irongate Scenery as well. Thanks very much. I'll be certainly using the bits and pieces I got from you guys too. The young man on the Warlord stand. Sorry, I didn't catch your name, fella, but nice chatting with you as well. And to everybody else who stopped me and kind of like wanted to talk about Magrathea Builder Worlds and what my channel has meant to you in the last year or so. It's really nice. I've said it time and time again. I never expected that kind of feedback for what I'm doing. I just do this because it's my hobby and I like it, and I hope other people kind of like benefit from it and get into the idea of model making, that kind of thing. But to have people tell me that I made a difference to their mental health during COVID and lockdown and everything else, and have inspired them to get on with a new hobby or get back into the hobby or whatever else, it means a huge amount. So thanks for taking the time to stop and chat with me today. Well, right, I'm going to get back on with the build. Cool, keep going, check it out. Alright, the glue on the on this is all really good now, it's dried, so I'm going to use this box lid, shake off any excess gravel. It's all going to fall off the top. Oh, well, never mind, here we go. Because then the rest of this base needs to get covered in sand, which would be a good job to do. Of course, now I've got tiny little bits of white stone absolutely everywhere. Scrape away in there. And as you can see now, I've also stuck the diner down to the base, which will make quite a difference as we go forward with this model too. So let's just get all them. Oh, for fuck's sake. So, what next? Should we do sand? Let's do sand. Okay, what do we need? We need the sanding tray. Under here somewhere. Oh, come on, what have I done with it? Okay, here's the sanding tray then. My old faithful IKEA sanding tray. And we're going to go for it with the Mod Podge glue. Mod Podge all over the rest of this model basically. Into, first of all, over the edges of my tarmac around the base. Building all down here. Just slap it on really, because it's all gonna be used to hold on the coral sand. This is where we left the roof. Now you can see it's dried on really nicely all the way around the edge. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a sharp knife, cut off all the extra tissue paper. It's not dry. So we can find there. And then I'm going to find some cardboard and put some cardboard trim on. But there we go. Oh, there's my roof cut then. Now the next thing I need to do is make some balsa strips to go across here, which is going to be the battening. I'm using, it looks like about 3mm. Yes, 3mm balsa there, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut, first of all, whole length off this. I don't know if these buildings would actually have a tar and paper roof, having A, never been to America, and B, never seen an American 50s diner, but they kind of like strike me as a kind of building that still would have. It was a technology that worked really well in parts of the country which wouldn't get masses and masses of rain, and the buildings are built on the cheap, so on the whole it seems an entirely appropriate roofing solution. So I'm just going to cut by eye some battens. Well, they're about what, 5mm wide, I suppose. I would do. Fuck that right up, didn't I? I'll do that again. Here we go. Okay, so battens about 5mm wide. I reckon this knife blade might not be sharp enough actually. I don't know how many I need either. 3 or 4 will probably do it, I should think. There we go. I'll stick those running across the model. What I'm going to do, it doesn't matter if I can, because I haven't stuck the brim on yet. I can stick these on hanging over the edge. That'll be absolutely fine. Roughly speaking, like that, I think. Roughly equal distances by eye. That's not bad. Let's get some glue out. So now I've got the battens drying on the roof. I've got to wait for the glue to go off on that, and I've got all the sand drying on the base of the model as well, so I've got to let the glue go off on that, so I can't really do anything else with either of those major bits of model. So I think my best bet right now would be to go digging through the cack. Yes, it's the time. I haven't done it for a little while. This video needs digging through the cack, but it's going to be quite tricky because I've got to find 1950s looking cack, or certainly sci-fi kind of things that won't look out of place in a 1950s diner. Now, over here, you can see these wooden drawers. They've been in the back of loads and loads of my videos. This set of wooden drawers actually is my most organised cack. If I just pull out one of these, you can see I've kind of got cack in here that's kind of arranged in some things. And this has got a lot of romantic terrain crate stuff in that I've got from different sets and bits and pieces. So I'm pretty damn sure there might be useful things in here. Well, in fact, I can see straight away there's dustbin. That might be quite a cool lying around outside. So I'm going to dig through that. That's drawer after drawer, this stuff. Bars and shop things and all sorts of bits and pieces. A lot more fantasy and medieval in there, but I still might be able to find a few useful bits. I don't know. So we're going to have to go digging through the cack, and then I will also dig through some of the... There goes another box. Ah, look at all my cack. Organised cack. Organised cack. Organise your cack, people. Organise your cack. Yeah, the rest isn't organised, but you know. So yeah, I might find a few bits and pieces here. Really don't know. Otherwise, I am going to have to just go digging through the actual cack as well. Who knows? But I'm starting with this dustbin. It's quite cool. Look at that. I've even painted it already. Hey, nice. Right, let's find some cack to dig in. I hope you're enjoying this atmospheric kind of lighting in here this evening. My battery's run out on one of my lights, and I haven't got any power in the workshop at the minute because all the work that's going on. But let's see what we can find. Now this one has definitely got, I mean there's definitely some things in here which would be quite good. Like I've got armchairs and things, but armchairs no good for a diner. Definitely got one of these burners already, I think, but that's quite cool. You see that? That's a Mantic stove 4-ring burner type thing, which is quite neat. Just put one of those just to one side, make sure. Is that, what do you reckon, 1950s enough? I mean, I seem to remember having great big icebox freezer things outside the Bates Motel in Psycho. I don't know if that's 50s enough. It's quite cool. I'm going to have to go and find out whether that will be appropriate. That could be quite good. I could have one of them outside. Oh, nice. These are, hey, bar stools. They're not even in the right place. These are tiny little bar stools. I think from a company's name slips my mind. The people who make the stuff for Dungeons and Dragons models. I bought a bar set from them, and actually bar stools would be work quite well. I think it's a bar stools. Good. Candelabras? No, I don't think so. I think that's just too damn modern. This cleaning cart. If we were playing Walking Dead, that would be perfect. But I think for 1950s, too modern. A rocking chair. Oh, that's wicked. Look at that. That's very out on the porch. Ma, Pa, get the shotgun. Ma. Raccoons coming. Make some moonshine. Apologies to anybody from America for my shite American accent. I don't even know where that's supposed to come from, but yeah. There's the old tabletop and stuff. That might work. I'm going to make a pile of junk. Oh, that right. Okay. Need other cack boxes. Of course, having loads of spares, like copious amounts of old workshop skeletons, is kind of handy, although most of their heads of course have been helmets on the things, but skulls, getting that, oh, tiny little skull and bits of skellies. I can have the odd kind of like broken up skeleton or whatever lying around. I've got legs. Oh, I need some arms. Okay, this stuff of course is not cack. This is Warhammer Fantasy Battle, Dogs of War, Rico's Republican Guard, kin loads of them, Birdman and Catchazar, whole set of them. Yeah, one day I might do something with those. Bronzino's Gallivers. Yeah, and yeah, none of that though is any use for what we're doing. Box after just different statuary figures. I know that's historical 28mm, mostly Elizabethan stuff. Don't need that either, pants. Oh well, keep looking, keep looking. Actually, one of the hardest things for this particular cack dig is the fact that it's a slightly different scale to most of my cack. But oh, there's An axe wing chop up there, and there's a little bottle there. I reckon I've probably got enough cack now to be getting on with one way or another. From points like this where I sit there and look at all this cack and go, it would be great if I invested some time in sorting it. There'll be all these things that I could do with it, but that would defeat the fun, wouldn't it, really? Cow. Oh, dead cow. Do they have dead cows? And can you eat irradiated cows in Fallout? I don't bloody know. Oh, never mind. I'll use that for another one. Okay, let's take a look at what we could have won. Here are some of the goodies we got then. There's a air conditioning unit, resin. Can't remember who made it. Got it fairly recently. Pretty cool. Damn, but I reckon that'll be quite neat on the back of the kitchen side of things, along with that bin that we found. These bars over here are what's making up the counter in the back of the diner anyway. Already got them. Haven't decided about the ice box, freezer box. I'll have to go and ask an expert, my son. I could use this sink, although I might be saving that for a Victorian model, and I don't want to overclutter the kitchen. Toilet, wicked, and there's the cistern. I could wreck. I've got a dunny somewhere. I could wreck that and stick that in there. That could be quite cool. How big is that compared to a figure? What do we reckon? Hey, that ain't bad, is it? Oh, look, there's a little dunny there, right? Privy, toilet. I don't know. Tables. I've got skeleton bits. I've got a old Warhammery signpost with a skull at the bottom. That might be quite neat. That's quite cool. The odd knife, tiny little Imperial Guard knife, I think that is, with a skull on it. That'll do. And loads of bits of skeleton and a few oil barrels, and then these brilliant racks of ribs and knives from the 40k crew kit. I love those. They're on loads of my models. So I might leave the odd bit of food lying around as well. So I reckon I've got enough there to add a few bits of detail to this model without cluttering the whole thing up. So we're going to call that a night for the moment, because I'm going to let everything dry, and I'll see you lot later. Okay, best bit of cack I've found is this 28mm outhouse. Privy, dunny, Jake's, call it what you like. Well, I made years and years ago for 28mm Wild West games. I don't know where the roof is now, but I'm gonna take the door out, put the toilet in with the cistern, and then really scum it up. And that is totally going out of the back of the diner. Alright, so my battens are now stuck on good and solid in most cases. I'm going to take my brand new Stanley knife blade, turn this upside down, give a quick trim. Yep, that'll do nicely. Then, nice bit of detailing on the roof then. I think I need to do. There we go. The only thing now I think the roof needs is a strip of cardboard that's going to go all the way around here. Pin it on, stick it on, to kind of hold everything in place. Make a brim. The problem is it's got to be quite a big piece of cardboard, because that is a 25cm diameter circle, and yeah, I can't remember the maths. You know, the pi r, you know, 2 pi r d r pi d, whatever, to work out the circumference of this circle. But it's quite big. So I need to have a look around, see what I've got. But mounting board might do the trick. But I know for a fact that this piece of mounting board, for example, ain't going to go all the way around, is it? Bums. But mounting board will, because I know, because I've used it down below, be the right kind of cardboard to do it. Although the best way to do it, I suppose, would be to just use 2 sections of this. Pin it on and glue it on we'll do that. Now the foam core is about 5 mils. The balsa is about 3 mils. There's about 8 mils there. So if I cut some 10mm strips of this mounting card, 2 of, and I reckon I'll be able to go all the way round using that. So yeah, let's have a quick look at that. Right, there we go then. So that's my 10mm strip stuck on around the edge. I'll peel off the odd bit there. That now gives a bit of a lip around the top, holds the whole thing in place, finishes it off quite nicely. I've got the odd bit that's uneven, that's fine, I'm going to trim that down. And the odd bit of bit of tissue paper that got stuck on because I've got a bit glue happy. But we'll sort that out with damage and weathering. Right, so now I just need to find the rest of the model, which could be easier said than done, where I left it when all the glue was drying. So look. Look, this is so not like Blue Peter. Here's one I made earlier. Oh, you vicious bastard. There we are. Here we go. There now is the diner. There now is the diner's roof. Get in. Sits on nicely. And now all I've got to do is build a platform out the front here. Oh my goodness me. It actually looks like a thing. And then of course it's going to be set of stairs around the back, and there will be the dunny. Right, so balsa wood then, and platforms around the front. That's what's next. Right, so I'm figuring out this as I'm going along. I want to build a set of, I want to build a kind of platform and set of stairs outside. I've taken, I think that was the roof that I didn't use. Anyway, it's given me a rough circle, and I've kind of like cut out some arcs in that mounting board, and I'm just fiddling with it to see how it's going to work out the front here. So I've cut one bit, then I'm going to cut another step. I don't know how well this is going to show on screen. Thus, see that? Oh no, that looks alright. And then I'm going to do another one. But what I'm going to do is I want them to be balsa wood. So I've got some, what's that? 0.8mm balsa wood here. Nice wooden texture. And I'm going to, that's that way around, so I'm going to stick this bit down to balsa wood. So I'm going to get Yoo-hoo, stick my mounting card down to the balsa wood, let it go off, and then I'm going to cut it out. And with the 0.8mm balsa, it will trim up really nice and easy with a really good sharp knife. Then I got the right shape. I could actually just use these mounting card bits to act as templates and cut out thicker balsa wood, but actually that's going to be quite fiddly. The balsa might not want to cut very well, so I'm going to just stick this across the grain like that, and I'll do a couple of others as well, and 2 other steps. Things that I reckon screams post-apocalyptic building is rickety boards nailed up over windows, because of course all the glass is broken because of all the explosions and stuff. So, and I'm just putting on balsa planking now over the window cavities, which is excellent because apart from anything else, it means I don't have to mess around with trying to glaze the windows. They don't have to be super nice. I'm actually a bit concerned that the top of the roof looks far too neat and tidy now compared to the rest of this model, but never mind. I'll get some more rickety boards stuck on over the windows, look. That's going to do just fine. All I've literally done is taken tiny slivers of offcuts of a balsa, and I cut them down and I've torn them in places with my nails, which is a joke because I haven't got any fingernails, and in other cases I've just drawn into them with a biro and roughed up the ends, and you get this kind of like proper wrecked wood look. And that way there the survivors can lurk behind in some kind of cover, and it helps to keep out the baddies, I suppose. So yeah, these are going up, getting stuck on, and getting nailed on. I reckon they look pretty effective. Already done some around here. You can also see now that I've put on this platform out the front with steps down. There's one of those figures, and that works quite nicely from that point of view. Down into the car park. I've added round the back. I've added this steep set of steps up to the kitchen, and there's the toilet, the dunny, the thunderbox, whatever you want to call it, in its little thing there. I've got an air conditioning unit on the back here, so now we're starting to add detail, which is pretty neat. So I'm mostly there now, I think, with the model. It's looking pretty cool. I've got to trash some more of the woodwork. And this roof is just too damn neat, so I'm starting to do some damage to this. Kind of hurts because I'm taking a perfectly decent piece of model and then trashing it, but then, no, post-apocalyptic. So all I'm doing is taking this biro and sticking it through the roof. Smashing up through the roof a little bit, which might mean need the odd bit of balsa wood putting in. But really, it's just roof material, what have you, hanging down in the model. We have light back in the workshop. Yay, power. Woo! We also have peeing down rain outside, so this section of the video might be kind of noisy. But having said all of that, before I get on with this, I got this far. Look, it's all black. I painted it all black. It's black, which is pretty cool, because this is the bit I've always said in other videos I really like, because now it all looks like one thing, which is pretty neat. So this part of the video, I'm going to be doing some painting when I've cleared up my desk, because right now it's a little bit on the messy side. So clear up all the cack out of the way, clear down the rubbish, paint the diner. Excellent. Look at the size of this donut. Hey! Nom nom, nom nom nom. Biggest jam donut I've ever seen. Huge, bought today on the local market. Oh, that gore. It's like a corpse grinder fest. I should be using this for a Necromunda video. Oh well, never mind. Right, so clearing up desk and eating donut at the same time. Oh my god, yeah. Okay, so I'm having a few issues deciding where to start as it goes. I quite fancy this being a red, white and blue kind of like paint job, because kind of American. Yeehaw! I'm going to start, I think, with the roof. Here it is, holes and all. It's tar paper. So this is going to be black. I'm going to paint the brown, wooden battens, and then black. And I'm going to paint. Going to get inside and paint a load of brown and stuff here where the roof is all collapsed. I think brown underneath here because it's wood, and then like a blue trim around the outside. So I think I'm going to go maybe blue and then red, and then I think the main body of the building I'm going to do white, and then wooden at the bottom. I think. We'll see what that looks like. It might look a bit shite, I'll have to see. I don't know. You might end up getting a respray. We'll start with the top. Can't go wrong there. What I'd like to do really is paint it like it was before it was wrecked, and then paint the wrecked stuff afterwards, but I don't know how practical that's going to be. Easy job to start off with though. Paint the battens on the tar roof and paint the tar roof. I mean, I suppose the advantage with a paint job like this, post-apocalyptic things, the fact that it ain't going to matter if it doesn't look really, really neat, because, you know, hundreds of years of rack and ruin. So, I suppose I'd better get away with a fairly quick and messy painting style. Sorry, Andy, it's not a quick and messy painting style, it's a well thought out, cultured and kind of like weathered system I've got going on here. And I think because this is going to be a Fallout model, which is mostly a radiated deserty kind of stuff, I'm going to paint the whole base with burnt umber to start off with, so I can dry brush that up to sandy kind of colours and sandstony kind of like lumps of rock as well. So yeah, let's paint brown. This whole goddamn model's going to go brown. Well, mostly brown. Dry brushy brown. Hope you're appreciating the storm that's going on outside this evening. 1 o'clock in the morning here, on whatever day of the week it is. Thursday. And yeah, it's nice. It's been pouring down the rain. Okay, so into the first part of painting then. Loads of brown on the base and around the bottom of the model. Looks really dirty in a minute. The blue kind of like first coat gone in there. Painted the wooden battens and red trim around the top and brown underneath first coat. So then this is going to go blue here, I think, and the rest of the building's going to go white. Desert and sandy stuff to do. It's not too complicated a paint job. And then I've got to paint all the details, all the gubbins that's going to go inside it, which is going to be a pain in the bum. But nearly there. Keep going. Hurrah. Well done, me. Most of the roof painted. Black tar paper and detailing on the battens. Red and the blue need a bit of touching up, and the blue needs a bit of a highlight. And I've dry brushed all the browns, all the woods. So now I'm going to make a start on the actual main part of the building. And although, so as the roof is red and blue there, I think I'm going to make the main part of this white. It's going to start off pretty white, fairly white. So I'm going to try and paint most of it as if it was before the apocalypse, and then we're going to hit it with Nolan oil and other effects, and then try and kind of mess it up afterwards. Then all I'll have to do is paint the detail stuff that's going inside. So I'm going to try and paint the Corax white onto the outside of the building, over where I've dry brushed a lot of the wood. I try and keep the kind of wood in the details and all the dugout bits where the wall has been kind of blown away. That's the aim anyway. And Corax white, because it's a base coat, isn't a brilliant white anyway, so it's going to help with the overall dirty kind of finished look of the model. I think the timbers going down the gaps that covered up those gaps in the balsa, I'm going to do either red or blue to go with this kind of like yeehaw American red, white and blue theme of this pancake house. But yeah, it doesn't matter too much if I don't get a full-on white covering, because look, obviously it's now hundreds of years after the apocalypse and worn away and damaged and horrible, so that woodwork can be showing underneath. So here's the whole thing with the white walls, or whitish walls, and red and blue stripes on the outside. The roof will sit on like that, which I think looks pretty cool. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for the Agrax Earthshade and Nolan oil and just try and dirt the whole thing up, I think, which is pretty simple. I'm going to try it on one panel, see what it looks like, and if it works quite well, probably around the door here. If it works alright, I'm going to do it all over the rest of it, because the paint's all just faded and chipped and falling apart and all the rest of it, so I don't feel the need to spend ages doing this part of the model, to be quite honest. And then I've got to do the sand, and then I've still got details to do, but I will also do all the same on the inside too. I think let's do the next bit. Okay, so me in the house tonight with the dog, because everybody else is out, so I'd have him as a workshop dog, but the problem is that he'll eat everything on the floor and there's so much crap on there. So we're in the house, so and I'm quite pleased with where I got to with the painting. The main building looks horrible, disgusting in fact, really cool, and all the sand in there, and that looks great. The problem is now the roof actually doesn't match the roof is way too neat, so I've got to come up with a way of knackering the roof up. I might go about it a bit with a craft knife and put a few holes in it, and then of course I think it needs a 8-gram surf shader or a Nolan oil wash or something like that to darken the whole thing down, because it just, the diner looks manky and horrible and wrecked, which is really quite cool, but this bit way too neat and tidy, too good condition. So yeah, knife is required I think. So Stanley knife, cutting and ripping, 8-gram earth shade. Now that kind of like works with the rest of the model. Going to get on with the base. And I'm not sure what the rest of Andy's table looks like, or if he's even got a table yet for Fallout. But I'm assuming that most of Fallout is a kind of like irradiated desert kind of thing, so I'm going to go for sandy, deserty kind of colours. I'm going to paint this tarmac first. Give it a bit of a grey dry brush, and then the rest of this gets a kind of sandy kind of colour. Not quite sure what. Let's see how that works. I'm in the house tonight because this yobbo is not coming in the workshop with me. Pup date, 26.4 kilos. That's 58 point something pounds. It's getting big. He's walking off with his mum's shoe. He does like a shoelace. Right, I'm nearly there with most of this paint job. My biggest problem now is my tarmacy bit. I'm having problems selling. I mean, it's just black. So I might, I have no idea, but I might paint some kind of like, just some white lines on it one way or another, just to indicate the odd parking space. Otherwise it doesn't really explain why it's black, and I could have just painted it all deserty really, couldn't I? But then I'm going to put some scrub, some deserty kind of like tufts of grass on. And I'm going to call that mostly done. Then all I have to do is sort out the scatter terrain. And we are sorted with this model. Okay. Now we've got deserty stuff. I'm painting some random kind of white car parky spacey things on here. We've got tufts of grass and stuff all over the place. I'm now going to add some Javis Scenics red ivy round the back, probably across outside the loo here, I think, up here and across the wall. And then all I've got to do is add the little details. Look, I've stuck in a cute little pin down here. The other thing I can't decide is what I'm going to do with this. This is the shop sign. Should go on the roof, but I'm kind of tempted to have it. I quite like the idea of it being fallen down, but it's bloody enormous. So it might have to go on the roof. I just like the idea of it having been smashed off or smashed into bits or smashed down. I don't know. Anyway, it says Flobberdobs, House of Pancakes. If you get a reference, well done you. It's Andy's idea. It's his model. So while I'm painting details, I'm also adding posters. These, it's a whole set of Wasteland posters on available in one of the Necromunda groups on Facebook. Very cool. Not going to use loads, but it'd be rude not to have the old Nuka-Cola paler or poster on the wall there. Which I'm going to stick on, and then I'm going to trash. And the old vault one as well. Certainly adds to the real look of the place. Let's give it a go, cut some out. Here it is then. Flobberdobs House of Pancakes, the finished Fallout Wasteland Warfare diner. Made as the winning entry for my August Patreon competition, won by Andy, one of my patrons. It was his idea, therefore I really hope, Andy, watching this, and when you get it, I really hope you like this model, because it's been a really good fun challenge. Curvy is what you said, and I kind of like, I've gone for as curvy as I can. I don't have any other Fallout scenery to put it with, so I can't tell how it looks with everything else. And I hope that I've managed to kind of like make the base well enough to kind of like fit into whatever else you've got. I don't know if you've got any other Fallout scenery, we'll have to see. I'm pretty pleased with it. It's the kind of model that I could have just carried on adding detail after detail after detail to, but so I have stopped. There's the odd bit of scattered terrain in there. It's got a suitable level of grime and unpleasantness. There are a few details that are good fun to look at one way or another. I'm not going to be able to put this on a table and show it with everything else because this is the only thing I've got for Fallout. So you're just going to have to suffice with the turntable. We're going to do some turntable shots in a moment. But on the whole, yeah, I'm really happy with this. If you fancy winning a piece of Magrathea Builder World scenery for yourself, then what you need to do is go and join my Patreon at patreon.com/Magrathea Builder Worlds. The next Patreon competition is going to be in December, and at that point, somebody in December before the end of this year, then will be selected to be the recipient of the next Magrathea Builder Worlds commission build. In the meantime, I've got a bunch of other stuff to get on with. I've got to get back down to the sump under Hive Primus for Necromunda. I want to make some more B&B scenery. I've got Lord of the Rings stuff I want to do. I want to make some stuff for Judge Dredd finally as well. So keep watching this space. I'm going to try and squeeze in as much as I can before the end of the year. If this is the first series of my videos you've watched, thanks very much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it. Go back and look at the other Magrathea Builder Worlds videos. You won't find any other Fallout Wasteland Warfare stuff. This was the first thing I did for that, but there are loads and loads of other models and different things you can get an idea of who I am and what I do. Please do click like and subscribe, and whatever you think of this model, please do let me know down below. I'd love to know your thoughts. I'd like to know if you think that I've kind of like hit it right nail on the head, got that 50s thing, got that diner look down, because I've got to confess, I am quite pleased with this. I'd love to know what you think about it. So, apart from that, thanks very much for watching Magrathea Builder Worlds. I will see you next time. Time for the money shots. Let's go get the turntable.